As promised, I have created a detailed, typed, step-by-step process for simulating a random or normally distributed variable. And this video will follow that same process step by step to ensure that you all completely understand how to do the normally distributed simulations in Google Sheets. You have two homework problems on 2.5 that will require you to be able to do this. I know that it looks like there's a lot of steps to it, but once you go through it, you'll find that it's not that bad. I really did try to be as detailed as possible. So with this example that we're going to walk through, I'm going to use example 2 from the notes from 2.5, and we're going to just go step by step and make sure that you guys understand how to do this. So while you're doing this, it may be helpful to be playing the video while looking over the step-by-step notes that I typed up to ensure that you understand exactly what's going on. And then if you need to, you can make some of your own little notes in the process as we go. So for the first step, you just want to start out with a new Google Doc or Google Sheet, and in the first cell you will type in the formula that I have given you in step 2. It's going to be equals norm inv parentheses rand array, and then open close parentheses comma, and in the formula that I gave you, I just put mu and sigma. Mu is going to be your given or calculated mean. Sigma is going to be your given or calculated standard deviation. In the case of the problem we're working with gestation, we are given a mean of 266 and a standard deviation of 16. So those are the values that we will use, and then we will hit enter. Now what we notice is we're talking about the number of days gestation. We're not going to talk about fractional parts of a day, so we want this to just be a whole number rather than a decimal approximation. So we want to click on the header for column A, and it's going to highlight the entire column, which is, we want to make sure that every value that ends up getting put into this column follows this same numeric format. So once you've highlighted the column, click on Format, and we will go to, I lost it, there you go, Number Format. Then down at the bottom, go to More Formats, and then select Custom Number Format. And then in this box right here, you probably have, I don't know what will show up on your screen right now, but just go ahead and type in 3 zeros and then hit Apply. And that tells this column that you just want it to be 3 digits long and you want whole numbers only. Now we are going to we're going to click in cell A1 here. We get the little blue box in the bottom right corner. Grab that blue box and drag this all the way down till you get to the very bottom. Google Sheets opens up with every column having 1,000 cells. So I'm going to drag this all the way down. I haven't investigated enough to find if there's an easier way to send these values all the way down to the 1,000th cell, but we're going to do this for right now. Almost there. Okay, so we've made it down to 1,000. I released the mouse and it's generated all my values all the way down to 1,000. We'll scroll back up, and we want to click on column A one more time, and we're going to click the little drop down arrow that shows up next to the letter A, and we want to go down to Defined Name Range. So when we click on that, we get this box over on the right. I'm going to change that from Named Range 1 to Gestation. You can use whatever name you want to use, as it relates to whatever the problem is that you're dealing with, and then hit done. And I've named all the values in that column collectively as gestation. Then over here, I'm going to close this. In C1, I'm going to type in the word mean. In C2, I'm going to type in standard deviation. Just personal preference, I'm going to make those bold. I'm going to change the width of the column to fit the data, and we're done with that. Then we're going to go on to step 8, where in cell D1 I'm going to type in equals average, and then I'm going to type in the name of that range of values that we just named. So I'm going to type in gestation and hit enter. And then for my standard deviation, I'm going to type in equals STDEVP. So we're doing the standard deviation of the population. And again, we're going to put parentheses and type in gestation. And now we have our standard deviation. Notice that the mean is exactly the same mean that we would have expected of 266, and the standard deviation is approximately the 16 that we were given in the original problem. So now we have all these values that we need, and we're going to label a few more columns here. So in F1, I'm going to label that bins. In G1, I'm going to put norm dist formula. That's normal distribution formula. Column H will be norm dist. That'll end up generating our normal distribution values. And then I'm going to have two columns, one just labeled histogram and a second one labeled histogram 2. Again, just a matter of personal preference. I like to center these values. I'm going to put them in bold. Resize them to fit. And we're ready to continue on. Now with the bins, this is something you're going to have to play with. Remember, way back at the beginning of the semester, we talked about bins when we were looking at histograms. The bin is the width of the data that you're wanting to evaluate, how you want to break it down. So in the case of the gestation problem, I chose to go with bins of width 2 days. You could choose 5 days, just whatever you're comfortable with, whatever you think models the data the best. So for this particular example, I'm going with 2 days. I did have to play with the bins a little bit. I did start out at 0 and added 2. So then I had 0, 2, 4, 6, all the way down to 380. And I just kind of played with that and found where the best range of data was generated. And you'll see that when we look at the second column here in a second. But what I found for this particular problem was that it would work out with 186. So I'm going to type 186 in cell F2, and then in cell F3 I'm going to type in equals F2 plus 2. And so now I have 188. I'm going to select the 188, and I'm going to drag this all the way down to F82. And that will give me my complete list of bins. 82. All right, so 346. So I have 186 through 346 listed. I also am going to highlight all the numeric values here under the word bins. So 186 down to 346. Oh, what did I do? I know what I did. Sorry, guys. Undo that. I'm going to highlight 186 down to 346. I will right click on that, and I'm going to define the named range again, and here I'm going to call it bins. That way I can call that up later on in the problem. So then I'm going to go over here underneath norm dist, so in cell G2, and I'm going to type in the formula norm dist, normal distribution, F2. Then I have $D $1, so that gives me my mean, and it will refer back to the mean in every single instance all the way down through these columns. And then I'm going to do $D $2. There's my standard deviation. And then you're just going to tell this false, because you do not want it to do a cumulative running value. You just want it to do it for each individual value in column F. So we hit enter. We get this really small decimal value. We want to drag that all the way down 346. Release. There we go. We've generated all these numbers here that we want for the normal distribution formula. Now in column H, we're going to use a special number that is generated by 1, the width of your bins, and so in this case it's 2, and then 2, it's going to be generated also by the number of observations that you are simulating. So we're generating 1,000 observations. The width of our bins are 2, so 2 times 1,000 is 2,000, and we will just simply take in cell H2, it's going to be equals 2,000 times G2, hit enter, and then again select that blue box, drag this all the way down, okay. Then in cell I2, we're going to type in one more formula, and then we're going to be done with all the formulas that we need for this problem. We're going to type in equals array formula parentheses frequency parentheses, and let's type in gestation. That's our first column, comma, bins is the bins column, and then 2 close parentheses, hit enter, and it generates a whole list of numbers all the way down corresponding to every bin value that we have associated with for this particular problem. Highlight all the values under histogram with the exception of that last 0. Copy these values and paste them under histogram 2. Alright, we are finished with the calculations for right now. What you want to do for the graph, highlight all the numerical values under bins, then hold down the control key and highlight all the numerical values under norm dist, histogram, and histogram 2, excluding the last 2 zeros. So we've got these 4 columns of values highlighted. Let's go to insert chart. Change it from a line chart to a combo chart. And let's see, everything on there, nothing on that needs to be changed. So click on customize. On chart style, change it to smooth. We can close chart style. Chart axis and titles. Let's change the title of this graph to gestation period distribution. And we'll close the chart axis and titles, and then we'll go to series. Now this is where we're going to make some changes to the graph to ensure that we get the normal curve and the accurate depiction of what we're looking for. So first, click on apply to all series, select norm dist from that menu, change it to a line graph. Then we'll go back up here, click on norm dist, select histogram. We are going to change that to columns, and go back up here, select histogram, and now pick histogram 2 from that menu, and we will change this to stepped area. Change our color to red, opacity to 100, and then we'll scroll down here to legend where it says auto, click on none, and we are finished. There's your graph. It shows the distribution with the columns, and then it also shows the normal curve, how it fits that data. So this is how you will do the simulation for a normally distributed variable. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Just make sure you're trying to follow along with the typed instructions as well as the video.